Close that. Hit go live. Says I'm live. Woo! Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Political Recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. Joining me as always to do stuff. Bullshit our way through an hour and a bit. Maybe longer. Who knows? Is the delicious Trupsy Wupsy. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups?
I'm okay. I'm eating a bit, but you know.
It doesn't impact your audio quality at all, so it's quite alright. As long as it's
Amazing.
delicious.
It is. It's steamed dumplings.
I've never had that. Never had it. I'll have to add
One
it
of
to
those
the
things that I
list.
want to learn how to make for myself. You know, because it's very simple. I mean, it's basically you just season some meat, you put it into a dumpling wrap, which is usually just flour, water, right?
Right.
And then you steam it, bamboo steamer. And I could eat those things literally every day.
I just in case LARPing does start up again, perhaps not.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I would end up looking like a dumpling by the end of it.
You probably would, yeah. You could do it less.
Yes.
Can your body even handle looking like a dumpling?
I'm sure it could.
There are some people I know who they put on a lot of weight over lockdown, but it all went like to one area, and so they look ridiculous. Like some of the guys I've seen look pregnant, or because they got really skinny legs, skinny arms, and a big gut, and they're just the
worst thing.
Go on.
The worst thing about that weight is it's sedentary weight. It's the way that you get sitting all the time, right?
Yeah, they haven't helped themselves at all in that regard.
Right. And it's also one of the hardest places to get rid of weight.
It is. It's the one, I will admit, when it comes to working out, well, I don't have the same issue. When it comes to working out at the gym, that's the area I hate doing the most. I have no issue with arms, shoulders, back, legs. No, it's always the abdominal region. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I know people dread leg day. I'm the complete opposite.
Leg day is fine. It's just walking afterwards.
Depends on how aggressive you go or how many steps you normally do. I usually do about 30,000 at the moment a day, so I'm okay with it. Although
I walk a lot at work.
Then you get it. Fridays usually for me. I usually do the bakery on the Friday, but today I was meant to not do it. Although halfway through a Twitch stream I got asked to go and do it. But instead of walking down there, I found that my sister had left her electric scooter here, and I was gone. I am not walking there and back. I was like, no, we're not doing this. I'm just going to ride down there as fast as I can and get it done and come home. And, I was meant to do research for this, but I didn't. I just archived some of the sources I've been accumulating over the week for this.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we'll look at them, we never do anyway.
I mean, it really depends. Well, we do. We reference them. That's really the point of them.
That's a point. We do reference them. We do.
Because there's only so much that a person can be expected to remember.
That's true. And if I'm given an hour to go through it, no chance. No chance.
Oh, absolutely not. It's also, you know, your memory never works when you need it to.
Yeah, it's like exams and yeah.
So I mean,
I just never bothered.
I think we can give ourselves a break, I think.
Yay.
That being said, do you have a specific story you want to start with?
You know what? I'm going to start with the United Kingdom has run out of petrol. Or gas, as you'd call it over there.
You ran out?
No.
Just straight up? Okay.
Yeah.
Explain.
But before that, I do actually want to say, if you're listening to us on YouTube, but you'd rather listen to this on, let's say, Spotify, this is uploaded to Spotify. Channel name the exact same. We have 192 followers over there. We'd very much like to continue growing. If you're interested in that, it will be linked down below. It should already be linked in the description. If it's not, I will, of course, put it as a pinned comment after the stream or go and... Bless you.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you.
I just love that the audio picks that up as well. It's gonna really throw the... I'm going to see that in the Audacity later. I'm going to be like...
I even turned my head.
Why is that spiking? Oh, that's why.
Oh, that's right. He
I'm
fucking sneezes like he's a lawnmower.
How dare you? fascist. But yes, if you're interested in listening to us on Spotify, please consider doing so. We'd appreciate it. But yes, back to the gas or petrol issue. So we have run out, but we haven't. So this has led. So for example, my sister drives. She has our car in the driveway. Now, any excuse she can make to not drive, she will take it. Which cost me £120 recently to replace the battery because it could be charging itself if she drove, but she's always thinking about how much diesel she can put in her car. That's what she's constantly thinking about that. And that's
like the max?
Sorry?
Or like how much she can afford?
She has to spend money on it.
Right, of course. Okay.
So she won't drive if she can avoid it. Same person who will, if she can avoid it, won't hang out with people. There were people who came down from Lowestoft and wanted to hang out with us.
Mm-hmm.
They called the wrong person. If they called me, I would have been like, yo, come over. It's all good. Niece is ill. Don't worry about it. Get over here. Come on, let's hang out. They rang my older sister, though, and her response was, no, the kids are sick. No, just don't come over. Because she's that person. But people are like other people. Some are still driving about, yes, but every petrol station in Kent is empty. It's dry. And it's not because we've run out. It's actually it's a misconception. And I do think this can be rectified, but it's going to take time. The reason there's a shortage, let's call it that, is actually because, and this comes from the Transport Secretary Grant Shapps, that actually refineries have plenty of petrol, but the issue is actually there is an insufficient number of delivery drivers, meaning that it's not going to get around the country.
I knew you were going to say that as soon as you said it wasn't that you're out of
Yeah,
gas.
It was pretty predictable.
I was like, oh no, it's truck driving.
Yeah. There is actually a labour shortage at the moment in many sectors. It's led to food shortages as well. Others have pounced on this and said, like, this is all Brexit's fault. Yes and no. Others saying, we should just rejoin because then we get everything back the way it was. And I'm not going to throw the person under the bus who did this. I tweeted out a picture of my passport because I finally got one. I was so happy and excited.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Not
fundamentally.
No. Just the front bit because it's all blue. The front cover part of the passport.
Right. Okay.
And I tweeted out a picture of the front of it and I said, "Finally got it." Yay, whatever. I don't know. And underneath, someone said somebody decided to be the Ramona type, and I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I'm not a dick. And say, lack of food, prices skyrocketing, but yay for you getting a blue passport. All right, thank you. That's not quite what I meant. Mine was more of a view of, it's taken me 3 years to try and get this. I'm very happy I've got it.
Also, like these things don't happen. Oh, I hate people like this, right? So it's like let's just say somebody got married, and so your first thought would be, well, congratulations on your marriage, right?
Of course.
That would be like somebody coming up and going, don't you know there are starving children? Fuck you and your marriage. It's like, hello? I'm sorry, what? Are you insane? Relax. Things. Life goes on.
I'd like to believe they didn't think that I was tweeting that out to flex about the about.
I don't think any rational person would think that.
Yeah. So to reference it with the context being food shortages and bill prices going up is a bit strange. But there are shortages, yes, and a lot of it does come down to trade issues that are being dealt with. But I don't know what that alert was. Thank you, Lost on You and Nothing Else. Congrats on 100k. Thank you very much for the £7.31 donation. That's very kind of you, and I need to fix the donation alert.
Yes.
Because I'm a boomer.
Are you?
Yeah.
Aren't you a late stage? Aren't you like an early millennial?
In the sense of I sorted out the alerts and then the text still doesn't fit within the box I created. I'm a bit of a boomer.
Ah, yeah, I noticed that
Yeah,
also during your 100K stream.
Don't get me started on that. Just don't. Thank you. But yeah, so there are issues, yes, trade-wise, but people's response is, we want it fixed now. Give us food. Give us plenty. Give us everything now. And
that's just entitlement.
Yes, and I get it. So there is a shortage, yes, but it's not so bad as people keep. There are pictures, yes, of empty shelves. Fantastic. I went to look for an image for this thumbnail, which simply, out of fuel essentially for the thumbnail, and all I got was stock images because everyone's having to buy them instead. It's insane because there clearly isn't
buy
any
the stock images.
Yeah, buy the stock image of an empty petrol station or something. Because there aren't as many images of this circulating as one would think. But now I know where they're coming from because I've seen some. It does blow things out of proportion a little bit, and so I will concede, there is a shortage in areas. Interestingly, and I found this quite amusing. I went into Sainsburys, one of the supermarkets here, and noticed they have we're in what? September the 24th. Okay. We got Halloween coming up. We don't do Thanksgiving here, so that's not a thing. But we do Halloween. And then Christmas, yes? Great. So, well...
I mean, yeah. I don't know that you guys don't do Thanksgiving. I'm sure you guys have a feast at some point in the harvest.
It's called Christmas.
Really? You guys don't have an actual harvest festival or anything like that?
Maybe as kids, yeah, but not as adults, no. Kids used to do that. I remember it in the 90s, but not so much these days. We collect stuff more mainly to give it to food banks, if anything. But it's interesting to me that Sainsbury's is already selling mince pies. Do you know what a mince pie is, Trups?
I have heard it before, but I can't. I don't know.
I would say for the sake of it, it's not actually made of beef or lamb or pork mince. It's a raisin fruit thing in a small pie, like a tart, but with a pastry cover. Biscuity cover. It's definitely a very traditional thing, and I would argue when it comes to Christmas foods, it's one of those very few things we can flex and say we're not as bland as you think, motherfuckers, because it's quite nice, and they're selling them already. And what makes me chuckle the most is these are baked fresh, which means they have a very short lifespan, i.e. about a month at most, because the preserve inside can last a little, but the rest of it can't. So my sister asked for cereal bars, so I went and got her some. I surrounded it by about 10 packs of mince pies and said, there's your cereal bars. And they've annihilated them. Because it turns out they love them, but at the same time, they shouldn't be selling this stuff in the first place, but they apparently are because they're trying to get people to buy things up before there's a food shortage. It's a fruitcake without the cake, correct? RW Bimby.
It sounds like a fruit bar. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Sure. Yeah.
If you look for pictures, by all means, it will make it easy and obvious enough. But it's very nice, very delicious. I like them. In this house, only 2 don't, which is great. Small problem there is that means 3 others do. And I'm not the sharing. I do not share food. No, I bought them loads of mince pies and they were working their way through them. But they shouldn't be selling them this early, but they apparently are because of food shortages. They want people to buy things now. Well, that's not how I do it. I will buy a meat hamper at Christmas for my sisters, and I've told my sisters to stock up on tins just in case, but in reality, we haven't been hit too bad around here. And so I think it's all been blown massively out of proportion. And people did panic buy. When they found out the petrol stations were running nearly dry, people went there and emptied that petrol station. People coming from different towns, meaning they used up additional petrol or diesel just to empty the station and then continue to use up more getting home. I just don't get it. It's panic buying on petrol, and obviously by extension certain supplies which we still don't have. For example, I clean brass at work, which means I need a chemical called Brasso, Well, there isn't
Mm-hmm.
much of that around. I had to buy a 1 litre bottle to refill my regular size bottle, which is about a fifth of the size. And that bottle cost twice what it would cost to buy 6 of the regular bottles. And I thought that was so, because that's supply and demand for you, isn't it? But it was just an unfortunate
Well, yeah.
that, to be honest, that was less to do with Brexit or delivery, and more to do with the fact that the factory that produces it was not in operation at the time. Yet it was pigeonholed as well as another one of those proof that Brexit was a bad idea.
Yeah, but okay, but like, do you mean to tell me that the shortages that the UK is facing,
Yeah.
no place in the EU is facing a similar shortage?
I wouldn't know.
France is overflowing with oil.
Couldn't tell you. France is too busy being full of salt at the moment.
Yeah, I know. That's my bad. That's
know.
America's
No,
fault.
no, no.
But
We're
you
in
know
that
what?
as well. We're in that
You
as
know
well.
what? Oh yeah, and Australia.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, all things considered. But yeah, fuck you, France.
Hey, France should have gotten its shit in order to the point we weren't getting over 1,000
Hey.
people crossing the border every day. We probably would have considered playing ball with those motherfuckers.
Look. After the fucking fishing debacle that you guys had a year ago,
But they're still
I'm surprised the UK didn't tell the Americans and say, "Hey, we're not gonna do this deal if you do it with France." Absolutely, go fuck them.
They're still fucking around. 1,000 people a day are crossing the... I see them hit my beach. I do not appreciate this at all. And they're doing fuck all about it. These people disperse very quickly, by the way. But they're crossing it because France is doing fuck all to stop them crossing. We're not going to play ball with a country that refuses to stop people from illegally crossing. And it's a very dangerous channel to cross. A very dangerous channel.
You know what? I might know exactly what you mean.
Oh, you mean... Oh, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I can't tell what's worse. The issue you currently face or slavery.
Oh, a lot of people apparently can't tell the difference. So,
Do you want to talk about that then? Because by the way,
oh yeah, sure.
I have paraphrased from someone else. That is not something I think. All right.
Yeah. What Meg just paraphrased was the collective opinion between typically Maxine Waters, representative from California, saying that the images at the southern border in Del Rio, Texas, specifically the ones of border agents on horseback, trying to apprehend fleeing. I don't know why we're calling them Haitian, by the way, since a lot of them have Brazilian and Chilean travel documents.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds wrong to me, but we're going to ignore that for a second. Haitians, they're trying to apprehend them, and the picture, if you look at it for about half a second, it appears as if the mounted officer is whipping the Haitian. Upon closer examination, you would see that it would actually require the man to be able to whip from his crutch, because both hands are otherwise busy. So, Maxine Waters, seeing this picture and wanting to drum up anti-border security sentiment, I wouldn't call it that, pro-illegal sentiment, said that the images bring us back to the slavery days. And I'm like, question, since when in slavery times were we preventing, because this picture was of a black person, I'm going to use a black person as an example. If we're talking about slavery times, when did we ever have black people running into the country, not out of the country during slavery? That doesn't sound right. Why would they want to escape inwards to the systemically racist the United States, of course?
Well, of course. Who knows?
I certainly don't, and I've gotten into plenty of arguments this week about it. Not on Twitter, because no one responds to me on Twitter except for like 4 people. Love you. I know who you are. And I appreciate you every time.
Start all the fights. We know you want to.
Oh, I do. That being said, okay, so this picture goes viral, right? And all the news agencies are covering it. Teen Vogue even had an article about it because, I go to Teen Vogue for my political opinions.
Well, who doesn't?
Apparently, God, that hurts. That makes my heart hurt. But all of these people, they were like, pictures and videos of mounted border officers are whipping Haitian migrants. I want to point out, by the way, that the whip, quote unquote, in question, that the rodeo champion border agents, yeehaw cowboy boys, were using wasn't actually a whip.
What was it?
It was just the reins.
Oh, was it?
It was just okay. So I'm gonna do a bit of nerding on you.
Go on.
So there's 2 main ways that people ride horses. It is either English saddle, which is a lot more formal. It's a smaller saddle. And then there's Western saddle. And Western is the quintessential, very large saddle, heavy leather. It's a lot more laid back. You sit into the ride a lot more often. English is much more the things that people will do when they are doing equestrian shows, as an example.
Yeah.
As opposed to a rodeo, right? Okay, in Western riding, the reins are a lot longer. That's because for newer riders, and all riders really, what they do is they'll have a length of rein, and then they'll knot it. They'll knot it about 3/4 of the way up, and all the rest of it is used to either gallop the horse forward or use as a tool to essentially urge your horse forward. You could use it as a crop on the horse's backside to make him go faster, whatever you want, or you could also use it as a visual tool by spinning it next to the horse. So of course, a Texan border guard swinging around reins, to the untrained eye, does in fact look like a whip. However, any person who has ever been around horses at all will know that that's not what that is. It's not even a lead. It's not even like the whips that you would use in a paddock to run your horse out if it was being like extra fresh, or sorry, that means like a dick.
So this is all essentially sensationalist and basically proof that people are retards.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, and context. I used to do English show jumping. So.
I was about to say, there's nothing hotter, and I think the whole chat will agree with me, than listening to Trupsy Wupsy nerd out over reins. Although it does make me want to ask many other questions about your home activities. I may ask your fiance instead.
Oh, yeah. Yes, in fact, I am good at leather.
Yeah, you are, baby.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, totally not.
No, of course not.
So
that whole thing, right? And the sensationalism, and we've had some developments in the last 2 days that have given me disappointment.
Okay,
so
what's
Jen Psaki, the House, basically I forget her name, her title.
Well, he's
press secretary. Press secretary.
Yeah.
Okay. She basically made the announcement yesterday that horses will no longer be used at the border. Okay. Was that the problem?
Can they stop Texas from doing that?
They can stop federal agents from doing that, but they can't stop state troopers from doing that.
I think they think they've got a win here, but they have no win at the same time.
Well, the other thing is, okay, so if the problem was whipping, was what's the horse for? Like, why ban the horse?
Mm-hmm.
A logical person, if the whipping was in fact a true statement, they
Yep.
would have said, "We'll ban the use of whips."
Okay.
Okay, in the absence of whips, what was the thing that it was? Oh, it's reins. Well, we can't stop the border from using reins on their horses, so I guess they're not allowed to use horses. Um, and even Joe Biden today made the comment that the images were embarrassing. What?
He's been saying a
How
lot
is
of
this?
things recently, and I'm pretty sure at this point someone else is controlling his Twitter, because if he has time to tweet out all the crap I've seen on Twitter, then he has time to answer the press.
Yeah, but
But
I don't
then,
think he controls his own Twitter account.
no, I don't think he even knows how to use Twitter.
No, the tweeter in chief was Trump, and we know that.
I couldn't agree more.
But no, the whole thing with the horses is absolutely fucking stupid. It's absolute
Okay.
sensationalism. That's why you didn't see it last for more than 3 days in the actual news cycle. Because most of the people who early reported it had to issue retractions because, well, it wasn't actually what it was. I even posted a tweet at one point that showed the image of the headline with the article tagged in it. The image shows the words apparent whip.
Right.
That line is scrubbed from the article now.
Oh.
I guess it wasn't so apparent.
Oh my.
So they're stupid. Basically, what it boils down to is people are fucking stupid.
Oh, they're definitely stupid.
And it drives me up a fucking wall. because why would you ever assume this? Like, I had made the comment where even if it were true and they were getting hit, by the way, 2 of the Haitians are suing the Border Patrol for the alleged whipping.
That's not going to go anywhere.
No, and also, oh, I see who you are. Yeah, I definitely want you as part of my countrymen. Fucking absolute, like, it's not grifting, but you're an absolute fucking sleazeball for coming in, breaking the law, and then having the audacity to say, "Nah, man, he hit me."
Yeah, bit sus, not going to lie.
So that's the whole thing with them, and every fucking actually no, yeah, a lot of Democrats have been standing up saying, "Oh, this is terrible. I can't believe they'd whip people. It's so bad." And then once they got caught in it, they're like, "It's not even about that. It's about the humanitarianism that we're not showing these people." I'm like, I'll show them humanitarianism after I prevent them from committing a crime.
I mean, they're not.
Once I have them under custody, I will give them all the respect they deserve. But at the moment, they're trying to run into the country illegally.
Yeah,
I must
so
apprehend them.
before anyone says either Trups and I are anti-immigration, that's not true in the slightest. I'm pro-immigration, legal migration though that is.
Oh, I'm pro-immigration too.
Yeah.
Legal immigration.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't fucking run into my country.
It has to be legal. I have no respect because I live by I'm right on the channel, and people making this crossing to me, it just pisses me off because we're spending millions upon millions on helping them, but that's not our job. They're not there to help them. The government's job is to help us, and they're doing a pretty shit job.
And while they were being asked about it, because this ties into another large story that's going on, is that there's like 14,000 immigrants under a bridge this week. There was.
It was 10.
They've been moved around. 10? No, 14.
Oh wow, the number's gone up. My mistake.
Yeah, 14,000. Now, at the start of this little trek, this little story, it was they had found Fox News had found an entry point that they were using to cross across the river. They were using drones to get footage. The White House basically made the FAA close down the airspace around that area so that Fox couldn't get drone footage. Fox, or rather local police, then said, well, I mean, if you guys can't fly, we still can. Mm-hmm. You guys want to come up in our helicopter? And they were like, yeah, let's do that.
Oh, Jesus.
So they got into the helicopter, so then the following footage that you got was all from fucking helicopter. Right. And you see constant streams of migrants coming through the border across the river and then just into Texas. And apparently they were keeping them all under a bridge in Del Rio. And just recently, within the last couple of days, they started breaking down the encampments, right? And they started moving people around.
They're about to call this Little Haiti Chad, are they?
I'm sorry? Yeah, I mean, kinda. It did look like the start of a bazaar or a favela or...
A favela?
No, it literally... Because they started putting up, like, posts, right? And stretching blankets across.
Right,
so everyone had their own little nook.
Oh no, I understand. It's just
it actually pretty good.
If for those if you don't know what the favela is, it's the slums in Rio,
Brazil.
Yeah. It's very well known, in fact.
Yeah.
Watch Fast and Furious 5. They're in there. Okay.
Yeah. Play Call of Duty.
Play Call of Duty. Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, yeah.
There's a map called Favela.
Oh, of course there is. That's a banging map.
It was fun. I remember playing that. Was it Modern Warfare 2?
I have 2, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But no, the whole situation. I mean, good on them for being resourceful because it wasn't like the government was helping them any.
No, they're not. Really,
that being said, couldn't they have set that up outside the fucking thing, like in Mexico? They had gotten all the way through Mexico, so clearly the Mexican police weren't doing anything about this.
They don't do anything about anyone. They didn't do anything about any of the caravans that were traveling up towards your country.
Only until Trump basically made them do it.
Yeah, but what are they going to do with this guy? That's actually something I want to raise. So I noticed within the tweets talking about this, under the Maxine Water tweet especially, the Dinesh tweet, he was retweeting something, and there were comments underneath, I believe, somewhere, that were saying, but they should be all allowed in because that's the fabric of America. That's the American way. I'm like, what part of America are you talking about? Because there are many parts of America that don't agree with this anymore. Never agree with it at all.
I was going to say, even in the late 1800s, we had rules for who could come. One of the rules in particular, I believe in 1897, was that if you were considered a danger to yourself or others, you weren't allowed in. They called it idiocy then. Yeah. They weren't very nice about it.
That doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, it's your country. You can say, "Oh, we'll welcome everyone in. Everyone, just come here." That's not gonna. That's gonna exacerbate problems you already have.
Mm-hmm.
You as a country have to be ready for it. Also, the role of the government, even in a country that's built on migrants, the role of your government is to protect the people within it. You can welcome people in, but you have to be able to look after the people first.
And they have to be willing to be a part of our country. I am totally down with people who want to, swear allegiance to our country and work for our country and make a living for themselves in this country. I'm totally down with that. You just got to go through legally, man. I don't want to give. And don't get me wrong. There are countless, sad stories about people who are down on their luck, who don't have enough money, all this. But we can't bend the rules for every sob story that comes knocking at the door.
When I wanted to move to America, the first thing I started doing was looking at the legal route options available to me when I was like 25. I was looking at these options. I was looking at best states to live in, cost of living, culture as well, because I thought that was important to understand and know the culture a bit better as well. So when if I was able to move over, because like my plan was to stay and try and become naturalized or whatever you call it when you
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. Okay. That was my plan long ago, which is a decade ago now. But I wanted to do it all legally at that point. I was thinking, yeah, if I did it like that, then I wanted to be very much prepared to fit in as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't seem to I don't know why many don't get that. Why they struggle to get this through their heads. It's not, and maybe it is maybe it's an opportunist mentality of, yes, but voters are dumb, and if these people just see us doing a good thing for them, they'll vote for us. That's not how it works, but okay.
I think Democrats genuinely do believe that, though.
It's remarkable
because there is a very, very clear difference between how they treat certain migrants.
Yeah.
So the Biden administration is trying to deport some of the Haitians back to Haiti. Now, Haiti is basically run by armed militias and gangs. Like, yeah, it's, one of us, but the majority of the country is really fucked.
Are we talking about the ones that have already been arrested for committing rapes against women and children? Because
that just happens.
Yeah,
that just happens a lot.
I saw that in the news over here, and I thought, that hadn't got much coverage. 2 guys in particular, a child and a woman. Interesting. Very interesting.
But I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there are parts of Haiti that are absolutely beautiful, provided they're still standing, and not underwater. Hey, man, that's just part of the fucking country, man. It's in the worst place for hurricanes. What do you want?
Yeah, all I'm hearing is climate emergency.
Oh yes, terrible climate emergency. Almost like they didn't have literal legends about hurricanes.
Should we just go back to talking about Ida, where you mentioned that comment in the DM to me?
Oh yeah, yeah. For those who want to know, there was a comment 2 weeks ago about Ida and how it was how we were ignorant about the severity of Ida and how it is truly a climate emergency. Islands are literally disappearing under the water. And all I could think of was 80% of New Orleans was fucking underwater in 2005. Like, $100 billion in damages and about 18,000 people died. No, Katrina was still worse. Like, Ida's just worse now because it's recent and that's what you think.
It's surprising how much
Ida happened
historically, isn't it?
Oh no, it's it's a month ago versus 16 years ago.
Yeah, people are willing to forget because woe be me, I live in the here and now, as opposed to look at the bigger picture. Really, how about you understand? We're not downplaying it. It was entirely because we don't have many hours to go through every facet of this, and it's not a case of at that point then you shouldn't talk about it. Actually, we should. But we've learned,
absolutely we should.
I've learned very well over the years to condense things down. Why use 7 words when 4 will do, essentially? I get this in DMs from people all the time, because they'll send me lots of messages or walls of text, and I reply with like 2 or 3 words.
or people hate that, by the way.
Sorry?
People hate that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's more because I don't...
They're looking for equal reciprocation.
Yeah, I don't...
They send you a book, they want you to send a book back.
I'll send them the transcript to Harry Potter if they want. But it will be a copy paste. It's not going to be any hard work from me.
Really?
I'm too lazy.
But yeah, so one of the interesting things we're having with the Haiti deportations is that the Haitians who are being deported are getting angry, attacking the pilots, attacking the bus drivers. Like, they're actually like trying to basically sabotage their way out of the deportation.
I assume because they desperately want to be here, which I can understand.
Yeah, sure, I believe that. And I don't know what they've gone through to get here, so that might be a really shitty situation, honestly.
Could well be.
That being said, given that given that the Haitians are being deported, but I haven't heard too much about the Brazilians, the Chileans, the Hondurans. It makes me wonder. Okay, well, why the Haitians?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Haitians, much like Cubans, tend to vote Republican when they get to.
Now, is this a tinfoil hat moment, or do you think this
they do trend to Republican. I mean, that much is true.
It is I will concede it is a tad coincidental. But please continue. I'm only saying that because someone will undoubtedly mention it in the comments, and I'm just saying it now. But please continue with this 100% not conspiracy.
I mean, sure, it's totally not a conspiracy that Democrats would use any and all opportunities to enhance their political hold on a situation. That's just politics.
That's just crazy talk.
Yeah, totally. Politicians, very trustworthy, never do anything bad.
Your dumplings have gone to your brain, dumpling.
Oh yes, clearly. What circle of hell did politicians inhabit again? Were they with the lawyers?
They're with the lawyers, yeah. They're with the rest of the bureaucrats.
Yeah, it was a fucking... What circle of hell was it?
I actually don't know the name, but they're over there with the lawyers. I put them there with the lawyers and the pedophiles because I think they're the same thing.
I forget where they put it. I forget which circle though it is. Okay, so yes, there is a circle of hell reserved for certain politicians.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Nice, cool. That's hilarious.
I actually need to check. Jeez, let me check the thumbnail for a second.
Okay.
Okay. No petrol, Maxine. Okay. There are 3 other subjects I've written on here.
Oh, the 8th is the 8th.
Beto for governor.
Beto?
O'Rourke preparing to run for governor of Texas in 2022.
Didn't he do that once before?
He reckons because Abbott's approval rating is slipping quite a bit. But I do think... The thing is, I think the source for that is biased beyond belief. Because it's going for the more metropolitan areas as opposed to the rest of the state.
I was going to say, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because...
I think they think because of what Abbott's done with regards to abortion that he will suddenly slip enough, even though he has, I think it's a 10-point majority over Beto in these opinion polls anyway. I think he'll still destroy him anyway.
Well, more than that, Abbott is kind of... I don't want to call him a lion because that title already exists. But for the Republicans, he's kind of a good dude. Like right now, the things that he's doing on the border, for example, he's going to win a lot of moderate and conservative opinion. He's doing what the federal government refuses to do. Stationing state troopers along the border, where the federal government has literally just...
He's doing the very thing that the federal government won't do, and that is look at in the context of Abbott, he is looking after his people, even if a large number do not agree with him. He is looking out for them, and I'll be honest, the large majority have been moving from California anyway to Victoria or Houston or whatever.
Sure,
it's just
Austin.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been saying that the state will eventually go blue, but I remember talking to a couple Texans, and they themselves being blue have said not in our lifetime. It's not happening.
Well, the thing is, it's like a California Republican is still pretty left. It's like a Democratic Texan is still pretty right.
Yeah.
So even if it went bluer, it wouldn't be blue.
I think there are some states that will always be that color, regardless. Because some say that, many are saying that because of the cities in Texas, they will eventually go blue because of them. And that's where that comment I remember telling you last week. There's no blue state, only blue cities. And I'm like,
yeah, absolutely there is.
that would be very much applicable if it happened in Texas, of all places, guaranteed in Texas.
Well, have you ever seen, like, I'm sure we've looked at them before on this channel, but like the voting maps, it's like red, blue. Where's the blue? Oh, that's major cities.
Yeah, so I remember getting a lot of flack for that because I remember talking to people on Twitter about it, and I pointed out that you can't say that's a blue state if the majority of it is red, and they're like, oh, but the rest of it's just dust. Like, that's not the point. There's a line, right?
Not only that, but that is very, very classist.
Say there's your it's the meme of, you know, the point, and then it goes around your head and you know. It's just, that's, I get the I'm not making any point against representation. Never going to waste my time trying, because it's like talking to a brick fucking wall. But it is interesting to see, and you cannot claim your state is a blue state if it is all determined by one city or couple cities. That's not
right.
That is not indicative of a blue state. A blue state is, well, I'll be honest, a bit more spread out. But I don't know if any
New
of
York, I think, is closer to.
I think it's
blue state.
Much of that is a city, isn't it?
No, New York is actually pretty large.
Is it? Oh yeah, because you got the 5 boroughs, isn't it, or something?
Well, the 5 boroughs are just New York City. We're talking about like places like Albany and Syracuse.
Oh,
and, like,
you're right. Yeah, sorry. That probably is the closest. By the way, if you are a Democrat and I'm speaking,
it's a lot of red. It's a lot of red.
Okay. If I'm speaking ill of your state, I don't care. I'm English. Why should I? We just don't give a shit over here. All right. Okay, so Beto is considering going for a 2022 run against Abbott. Results, Trups.
Oh, he's gonna lose.
Cool. Next on the list, Macron is salty.
Yeah.
Why is Macron salty, Trups?
I believe it had something to do with a deal about certain nuclear submarines, if I remember correctly.
You do remember. I've actually put something in our little tab about it.
Oh, good, because I forget if we were going to have France build them originally.
Yeah, there was a submarine. There was a submarine deal in place, and no.
Let's see here.
Macron wanted to speak to Biden because this is considered a diplomatic crisis because Australia cancelled a submarine contract with Paris. With France also recalling its ambassadors.
Yeah, so...
And Canberra.
So here's a question for you. Why? Why any of this? Why did we cut France out of the deal? Why did they never recall their ambassadors? What do they have to gain from this?
I don't know, but I'm kind of curious because the deal was originally struck in 2016. So I'm kind of curious. It was different governments back then as well. So I'm very interested for Australia. I think went through like 6 or 7 iterations between now and then. Because they don't ever seem to have an election. They only have, coups.
Runoffs.
Yeah. I don't fully understand why this has happened. Do you?
Okay. Not exactly. I tried to piece together why we would have gone back on a deal.
Okay. It's Australia. It's Australia, not America.
Well, right. But okay, so why would Australia then have gone back on a deal and done it?
I've got a quote from the Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Of course, it's a matter of great disappointment to the French government, so I understand their disappointment. But at the same time, Australia, like any sovereign nation, must always take decisions that are in our sovereign national defence interest. Saying also that Australia was upfront, open and honest with France about its concerns over the deal. So there must have been an issue with the deal itself. And they're just like, no, fuck you, we're going to go to America and England instead.
I wonder if there were some conditions that we don't know about.
Probably. It makes more sense based on what I'm reading here. So apparently the deal Um, so it was valued at 34 billion euros, but cost more by today's standards. So there were concerns that had not been flagged by the Australian government, and that's about it actually. He says Scott Morrison says very significant concerns. So it must have been struck by his predecessor. I'll have to check.
Yeah,
actually.
that would make sense. Now the obvious question that would lead into is, okay, so
Yeah, it's before his time. He assumed office in 2018.
So I assume then that they re-upped the contract with, I guess, the Americans?
Yes, America. Well, us and you in the UK, I believe.
Right. So we're going to work together to build them nuclear subs.
Damn right. We got Trident. We got you back.
Now I just want to remind everybody in the chat. Do you remember when the UK battleships and aircraft carriers said hello to the French one?
Oh god, that thing was tiny.
Yeah. Have you seen America's battleships and aircraft carriers? If I were Australia and I was being threatened by China, would I want France or America and the UK?
The thing is, with the French one, it would actually be quite a unique submarine. Its armor will be quite brittle. And we'll explain why in a moment. It will come with a periscope, but when it comes out for you to look through it, it's just a white flag.
I knew you were going to fucking say that.
You knew it was coming. You fucking knew it. You knew it. And it's actually going to be a little plastic remote control submarine that you put in the bathtub. That's their defense strategy.
And it just plays their national anthem as it goes around.
The Australian one or the We Surrender?
The surrender boat.
The surrender boot. Yes.
The Sioux boat.
The Sioux boot. I like that. Yeah. So essentially, it's entirely because we offered a better deal, and we're okay with this because Australia is a part of something with the United Kingdom called the Commonwealth. When it comes to striking deals with the Aussies, we've got them, and we're more than happy to work with the Americans to produce nuclear submarines for them. Because money, and it also means that Scotland, where I believe these are produced, gets some additional work, and we're more than happy to send it to them. Money.
Good. Yes.
So the final thing on here on this thumbnail is Biden's tax plan. I don't know if you pay attention to Biden's Twitter or not, though. So in the last thing I've linked, there are 4 archived tweets within a day of each other. All of them essentially regurgitating the same message about taxing the super rich and that they need to pay their fair share.
Oh, yes, I did see these.
I'm kind of curious what you think about this, or the Build Back Better agenda, which, by the way, did tongue-tie me the first time I said it.
Well, my question whenever they say tax the rich, very, very simple question.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
Well, that's actually a thing, because in one of the tweets, I'll have to pull it up, I believe Biden directly references that the 400 wealthiest families in America paid an average federal income tax rate of only 8.2% on $1.8 trillion of income from 2010 to 2018. Now, I think this might be a little bit misleading. Firstly, that's also a damning statement for how Obama dealt with the tax issue. Come on, 6 of those years are his. But also, if there's an issue with the tax system, you're basing it on a system that you've supported. Also, because he was also in office for 6 years. I'm sorry.
8. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, he was in office for 8 years, 6 of which is what we're talking about.
Yes. In the context of this, 6, because in the 4 years in between, he made over $17 million. So let's. I mean, the guy knew how to make money at least, and he gave a lot of it away.
Oh yeah, they're very good at that.
The point is, I don't know how the tax system works in your country, but it's a very disingenuous White House tweet to say the average federal individual income tax rate That's a bit. That part sticks. Sticks.
Intentionally cryptic.
Yes, and it sticks at me because it doesn't give me enough to work with. And
Well,
I think it also makes it seem like they've taken their numbers and they've done the mean, medium, mode, and average. That's what they've done, and I think that's I just no. Let's not do that. Let's not.
You see, our tax code is over 9,000 pages long.
Yeah.
Now, the joke for several people who get into tax law is that our system of government was written in 3 pages, but our taxes appear to have to be written in 9,000. Now, because my family is full of lawyers, they make the comment that the only reason why somebody would bury something in that amount of paperwork is because they want you to not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is intentionally written to be cryptic. It is intentionally written to be exploited, and intentionally written so that tax lawyers, in particular, have to be employed for people to properly navigate such situations like having to pay very little income tax. Ironically, this is not usually the run-of-the-mill Republicans. Career politicians, yes. But run-of-the-mill Republicans, not as much. Case in point, think of all of the numerous tech firms and name one that is widely successful and run by Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Good.
And,
very good.
Just for the sake of it, because I want to do this, mean is not the same as average. Okay, cool.
All right.
Just addressing the chat for a second. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Sure.
So basically, for the last 24 hours, Biden's Twitter account, the POTUS account, has tweeted out that the super wealthy must pay their fair share. They must pay their fair amount. It's time for change. We now need to use the Build Back Better agenda, where he has also referenced that to do this, he has spoken to the only the Democrats in Congress about getting this through. I assume because he knows in about a year's time he won't have them anymore.
Yeah, probably not. Sorry, I'm kind of explaining more of
the Build Back Better agenda.
Well, I was more explaining the mean and average thing.
That's all right.
Yeah, because mean usually compares data, 2 or more sets of data. Average is the summation of multiple individual numbers, and then
indeed
numbers.
I 100%. Yeah. I just found it fascinating. I know some did say, but what about Biden? He's got loads of money. But I looked him up, and no, he's not as rich as you might think. He actually.
Well, apparently there was an article today. Oh, okay.
I have a cat. Carry on. There's a cat here.
Well, apparently today there actually was an article that came out that said that Biden may be in debt $500,000 to the IRS. He may owe back taxes of $500,000. So wouldn't that be interesting if they claim, well, we're going to tax the rich, and find out that Biden in fact has just not paid his taxes at all?
Right, I have returned to my apologies.
Yeah, so I was explaining how there was an article that Biden hasn't apparently owes the IRS $500,000 in back taxes.
That shouldn't be a problem for a man who has a net worth of $9 million. Although it should be higher, I do believe he gave a lot of it to family and charity.
Yes, I hear Trudeau is very good at that too.
That doesn't surprise me for a man who now has a minority government. Actually,
well,
I just
more or less.
The
joke about that was that he has been, I think he's up to 4 scandals of embezzlement and misuse of funds.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at this point. People literally only vote for him because they don't want a conservative. And the only reason they got rid of Harper, there were obviously other reasons, but one of the main reasons I remember hearing, like Armored Skeptic, for example, this was a great piece of, just to show you how stupid he was in the political sphere. We had to get Trudeau because we needed change.
Oh, that's what got us Obama.
Shut the fuck up, Skep. Stick to your fucking lane. You clearly don't understand. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Harper, by the way, if anyone follows him on Twitter, he's a very respectable person. Very respectable. I did want to insert one thing because I really wanted it. I'm a big boxing fan. Lots of people know.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I fucking love this so much. I would love. There's been a few things
Yes,
already that
I want it to happen. Yes.
So for those, he's one of the best of all time. He's not the greatest. I'm sorry. There's too many losses, and he also lost to somebody who should be ranked higher than him. Someone who's fought just as good a quality opponent. Maybe not knocked him out as well as Manny, but. You know what? It's fine. Manny Pacquiao, current senator in the Philippines, probably retired now after his more recent loss, which is unfortunate, but you know what? 2 years out of the ring, what do you expect at this point? He is running...
Also, isn't he, like, old as shit?
He's 42, 43. So he's not old as
shit.
For
a boxer, isn't that pretty old?
Oh, for boxing, 36 is old.
Yeah. I'm talking about, like, athletes, because these athletes age so hard after all the hits they take.
He retained his speed, and he could take a punch. So, you know what? He's done exceptionally well. But Manny Pacquiao, 8-weight world champion, one of the greatest ever. He's the only 8-weight world champion ever, actually. He is running for president of the Philippines, and he's one of the richest. He's had a tax scandal by himself, by the way, but he paid it off because well, he's Manny Pacquiao, yo, and he's got money.
I remember that. That came up like what was it, like 6 or 9 months ago?
Yes, it did actually. In the Philippines Senate, he is in the top 3 wealthiest, and that's great. I want him to be president of the Philippines because he.
Me too. Because their president's an asshole.
Because he is universally loved, and he is loved by everyone because of where he came from. If anyone's ever watched where he started to where he is now, the guy gave up everything, and he had nothing to start with, and now he's got everything, and he still has faith. He's never given up on like his family. They're the most important thing to him. He is a very unique,
a man of principle.
Yes, and he has said some spicy things in the past about homosexuality. I will agree, very spicy, and I think he has apologized for those comments. By the way, I believe he did, but. I would love for him to win because I think he could do some great work for the Philippines on the global stage, because he transcends the industry of boxing, because not only has he become a politician, but he's become a successful politician, a good one. He builds homes for people, and I don't think he actually makes anything from them. Makes small homes for people, and that's really good.
No, he uses his wealth for philanthropy and to invest back in his community, which is
give them what he never had.
Right, which is the most wholesome things that one can do with their wealth.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like to say, yeah, but he didn't beat Floyd. I know he had excuses. I don't care, but I maintain to this day, no one beats Floyd. Shut up, all right? It's not happening.
Floyd only does fights that he wins.
Yes, and that's why Floyd beat literally everyone. Someone might say now, but what about Marcus Maidana? I mean, the guy tried to Muay Thai kick him. No, he just roughhoused him. Floyd won nearly every single round. That's only because he took the first 2 off while he was trying to work out what he could do with this guy.
Not only that, but several of his organizers protect the fuck out of him.
Oh, he's protected. He is. Whereas Manny isn't as much protected. But that's why Manny's fights are more exciting.
Well, do you remember there was even a comment at one point where there was a fight that he was going to do, but they forced one of the boxers to use a different set of gloves.
So that was actually Marcus Maidana, the very first fight.
Oh, okay.
They changed the gloves on the day of the fight, which meant that for the training camp he had done, he had been using, I think it was gloves with less padding in, and then
they gave him pillows.
They gave him pillars. But for the second fight, they had the same gloves, but the result was the same anyway. Floyd, he knew what he was doing. I mean, the guy's the A-side. Once he beat Oscar De La Hoya, he was the A-side. When he beat Manny, even though they were both older, he confirmed he would never be anything but an A-side. And no one can ever take that from Floyd. But with Manny, he was still popular after that. Floyd, no one likes Floyd. People want to see Floyd get knocked out. But when you see Manny, you see someone who's made something of himself beyond boxing. And if he became the leader of his country, that would be amazing. And a great role model for others who get into sports to then get into politics. In Russia, it's not the most uncommon, actually. There was a boxer, a very tall boxer called Nikolai Valuev. When his career ended after fighting David Hay, who was about 5'11", Valuev was about 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, whatever. You know, the guy was a literal giant, by the way. Like gigantism, he is the living embodiment of it. Okay, David Hay beat him, and he nearly knocked the fucker out too. His legs went. It was good. But when he retired, he got into politics. There are others that have as well. Actually, someone that used to train with Manny Pacquiao called Ruslan Provodnikov, one of my favourite boxers, because the guy just doesn't stop. He got into politics as well. Another, Siberian, but in that ballpark, it's not uncommon doing something good.
Athletes get into politics. Fucking
Vitaly Klitschko.
Who's the Georgian the University of Georgia guy who is running for Georgia Senate? Oh God, I can't remember. If anybody's a Dogs fan in the fucking chat, you can maybe help me out.
Well, there is one other boxer, a Ukrainian heavyweight former WBC champion, Vitaly Klitschko. Is a member of a party called UDA, which I believe means punch. And if you've ever seen Ukrainian parliament, they regularly fight. You will never see anyone try and have a swing at Vitaly, for two very big reasons. One, he has a granite chin and is renowned for it. He only got stopped via a cut. That's how good he is. He literally, and that was Lennox Lewis, who retired after that because he wouldn't give him the rematch. And the other thing is, Vitaly has a ridiculously heavy hand. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Herschel Walker. He was a...
I know the name.
Yeah, Georgia footballer who is trying to run for Georgia Senate on the GOP ticket. And so you have that athlete in America going for a thing. You have Kane, who is a mayor of a Tennessee town.
I figured Wildly would know in the chat. She is obviously from that area, isn't she?
Yeah, Herschel Walker, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama, right? Alabama, yeah.
No, Georgia.
no, Alabama. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the point was, it's great to see someone inspire like that, because he's someone people want to support.
Right. The thing is, with athletes, you want to see... There's a big difference between athletes that you want to see succeed and athletes you want to see lose. Like, for a long time, Brock Lesnar was one of the people that people wanted to see lose. So, every time he won, you had people who were like, Brock's the best, but everyone else was like, fuck.
Well, thing is, good thing with Brock is, he did lose. And he never, went, I can't believe I lost. No, he took it. He straight up just took it.
Yeah, he did.
But
he just was too good for a while.
There are people you want to see win and those you don't want to see win. In my country, say in boxing, I used to dread watching a Joe Calzaghe fight when I was a kid because I never wanted him to lose, and he didn't. He retired undefeated, considered the first undisputed super middleweight champion, but he actually wasn't. He had to vacate the IBF before he picked up the other one. It was a palaver. Others, Ricky Hatton. But then, as an adult, I never wanted to see Carl Froch lose. He lost twice on points. But he did avenge one of them, so give him that credit. But there are fighters I wanted to see lose. I don't like Amir Khan. Why? Because Amir Khan talks too much, and he shoves his faith down everyone's throat, and also he has a glass chin, yet thinks he's all this. I'm doing a hand-mouth gesture. I wanted... It's like racing. No one wants to see Lewis Hamilton win. Why? Because he's an obnoxious prick. Alright? Mm-hmm. It's the same in other sports. It's what you... But then Manny...
Yeah, it's your underdog, or your local boy, right?
Yeah, you want to support... Maybe it's that thing. Someone's too successful, and you're like, nah, fuck off now. But then Manny,
when people are too good, you're like, nah, fuck you. But if they started as I'm bottom tier, I came from nothing, then you want everything to go well for that guy. It's just that underdog story you root for.
And with him, if you've ever seen the documentaries on YouTube of Manny from where he started to where he is now, the guy was a twig. He was no thicker than a cricket. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy, he was 8 weight classes up. It was straw weight, I think, or flyweight. This is
Mm-hmm.
obscenely small to become a welterweight. That's a massive jump, and to do it in his career, you can't not support the. And he's been in some of the best fights ever. I want him to win. I want him to win. Manny for
True.
president, everyone.
And yeah, honestly, and Manny can actually drum up he's honestly a populist at this point because of his notoriety.
Mhm.
Because people are going to rally behind him as an embodiment of the underdog story, especially right now with the situation going on in the Philippines with Duterte being an absolute fucking cock.
He is a bit of a twat.
And well, I mean, he's basically just beating up on his on his people. Restricting access to this. Oh, you can't talk about this. And like they're really getting down and dirty into it, arresting people who don't agree with him. Basically trying to take over the country by piece by piece. I mean, the people would much rather rally behind a literal embodiment of an underdog story because that's how they feel.
Then I have high hopes for Manny Pacquiao next year or later this year. Whenever it is, the elections happen. I swear we're going to cover it as well because I want to see him win.
Oh hell yeah, we will. I won't let that story go along. I'm like hell yeah, and I'm sure. Actually, I've got a couple friends who are from the Philippines, so I'm sure they would be interested.
So I will say that.
Yeah, he literally murders men for being gay. He's an absolute fucking psychopath.
Manny has said some spicy things I said earlier with homosexuality. I do hope that he can change that perspective because and change the way the country behaves towards those that are gay. It's just not. Mm-hmm. You can be religious and a lot of religion by modern
you can be respectful.
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of religion teaches tolerance towards people who you differ from. If that's the case,
even Christians, even Jesus. I don't want to make this a theology thing.
No, please, go on.
Even in the Christian religion, Jesus sat with sinners. Okay, that was the whole point. And because the Philippines is largely Christian, from what I understand,
it is.
They may be them. They may also be various different Asian origin religions. I don't know how many are Taoist or whatever.
Taoist?
Taoist? I don't know the difference. I'm going to be honest with you.
Same thing, just pronounced differently.
Okay. But I know that's still popular in many regions of Asia.
Lao Tzu is a very interesting teacher.
Mm-hmm. And I know even my neighbor, actually, my next door neighbor is Buddhist. Very nice guy. We're going to go Halloween. We're going to put up Halloween decorations for the kids.
Nice.
But I think that a large majority of them are Christians. So even then, I understand the ongoing issue between Christians and gays, but honestly, it can be resolved with just a bit more acceptance. It's the idea of I can lead a horse to water, but I cannot make them drink. And then once you get there, though, if they don't want to drink, your job is done. Leave. And that's really it. So, okay, I think that how you live your life is not in the ways of God. What, are you willing to work with me to do something else? Mm-hmm. No. Okay. I appreciate you at least, listening to what I had to say.
Yeah.
And be done.
Yeah. No, I'm with you with this. I like it.
Because anything else at that point is just is you're just browbeating.
Yeah. Still Manny for president.
Also, chaos heathenry represent a.
Wait, what?
Paganism.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. Thankfully, I didn't say A as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else we should be discussing this evening?
No, I think we've covered a lot of it. If
we
didn't touch on something, then we'll probably a lot of these topics are ongoing from previous weeks anyway, so I'm sure we could talk about it.
We
again
spent
if
more
we
time
had-
talking about Manny Pacquiao than we did Biden's tax bollocks.
because fuck him. Okay, like his taxes is just a
Let's change the
fucking
name to
lie.
Manny for president.
If you tax the top 1%, 100%, you still won't be able to pay off the fucking bullshit spending that they're trying to do.
Not surprised. It'll be very amusing to see how it unfolds. Is there anything you'd like to promote?
No, not quite yet. Though I have been looking more at articles that I can turn into videos because I'm trying to get myself back into the swing of things.
I look forward to that. If you don't already, follow Trups. His link tree is in the comment there from the Alabama girl. Thank you very much for everyone joining us. I should have a video out on Monday on this channel, but I can't promise it. Family engagements over the weekend and all that nonsense. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for smashing like or dislike, whichever you prefer. We shall see you next week unless Trups is away.
No, I shall be here.
And it will be 15 minutes later than usual, because easier.
Yes.
So thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Say good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.